Hey, welcome team managers. This is John Crable, your instructor for Case Studies and Strategic Management. Wanted to do a wrap up on the simulation after round 7, I believe it was. So I'm going to go over a couple of the more common things that we have discussed, and then also give you the ability to kind of plan for your final presentation coming up here in a couple of weeks. So the first thing I noticed was that your cash went way down, and first of all, we have had a lot of cash on hand. So I was eager to see kind of what the plan was for that going forward. Also wanted to look at a couple other things. Look at your relationship between common stock, between equities and liabilities. The numbers there. When we look at it, total liability is about 12 million, whereas total equity about 90 million or close to it. A really good ratio there. Glad that you're able to retain as much of your money as possible. So that's obviously a positive with that. So here's where we kind of saw the difference in cash flow, or the change in cash position. You just paid back a lot of your finances, and I think that's great too. Was glad to see from a financial standpoint, you improve your positioning there quite a bit. And like we've discussed, there's not necessarily any sense in having all that cash if we're not going to do something with it, right? So looked good there. We really didn't have much, if any, inventory this past round. So I know maybe one of the components of this past round that we had talked about is carrying inventory over from round to round. We were able to minimize that quite a bit. So I thought that was good. When we look at just the sheer fact of how much did we make, yeah, I think we would have liked to make more based on all the sales that we had. You can see when we get down to the net margin there, we do really, Able is in great position. I think we just need to sell more of Acre and more of Atom to be able to drive additional growth in those areas. When we start comparing all the numbers here, I know we've been up and down a little bit, but if you look at the past 4 rounds, especially from a market share standpoint, we've been able to increase that every round, even as our round-by-round profit has jumped up and down. But you also look at asset turnover, you look at return on asset. We've been able to do a really good job the past 4 rounds with those as well. When we get over to the Capstone Courier, a couple things that we can look at here. Obviously, the contribution margin, I think we probably want that higher, but we've been able to fluctuate quite a bit as far as that goes. So, some of the other numbers that I start to look at and pull out from a return on sales standpoint, from a return on asset standpoint, I think we're probably maybe a little bit lower, but still within good striking distance of everybody from a comparison standpoint. All right, let's look here. Scan down. It looks like we really got the capacity versus production concept down now. We're probably not operating at 200% or close to it, but we're pretty darn close. And then when we look at the production information, what I really like to see from this standpoint here is how we really try and go from a round-to-round basis. Love the fact that we've been able to minimize inventory over the past couple rounds. Shows, from my standpoint, a lot of growth when it comes to production. Shows a lot of growth when it comes to being able to discuss how the different departments function together. And so overall I'm happy with those. And as we would spin this out, we would have the ability to really ramp up Able and Acre going into future years, because our revision date is so close to the beginning of the year. So we're definitely happy with how that looks. And then we're going to go down and take a look at the perceptual map. Get down there eventually. There we go. And as you can see, between Atom, between Able, I think we're in a pretty good position. Atom obviously in the best position, being able to go forward with. I think with Acre, we fell into this trap of not making those incremental changes, and the results, we kind of fell out of that fine cut of the perceptual map, especially as we went forward. So when we look at that, good work from Able, really good work from Atom, and with Acre, we probably just needed to make a couple more tweaks or fine revisions going forward with that. So guys, go back to your final presentation. I believe we're going to have it in 2 weeks from tomorrow, which would be the 30th of April at 8:30 p.m. If there's any issues with that, please reach out sooner rather than later. But we should have a lot of good information to be able to put that presentation together and start moving forward, start working on it in the short term. Thanks for your time this semester, guys. Thanks for your work. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Bye-bye.